Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying with Jim Misiura. Today I'm going to tie a nice little mayfly nymph, and some of you may know it, and this probably has been a forgotten nymph. Really, it's a nymph that's used mostly in high mountain lakes, but it'd be great brookie or small stream nymph, little brook trout, stream. But this is called the Timberline, and I'm sure it's called the Timberline because high mountain lakes are usually above the timberline. But the hook that I have in the vise is a size 16. This is a 2 extra long, and I use the 2X because I have the bead on there. And in general, you want an extra long hook, either a 1X or a 2X when you're using a bead, because if you use a standard length, a lot of times the standard length is going to take up too much of the hook. I'm going to use some black thread. This is just 8/0 black thread. We're going to start it behind the bead. And the bead I have on there is a 2.4 millimeter. And we're going to bring that back to the tail position. I'm going to stop it before I get quite to the tail. Got a little ways more to go there, but I'm going to go ahead and put in a rib. And for the rib, I have a copper wire, but you can see it's a very brown copper wire. And this brown copper wire came from a motor. We're going to put this in. And notice I put the tag all the way to the bead there. I'm just going to go ahead and tie that down. And by putting it all the way to the bead, I won't have a lump. Now for the tail, I'm going to use moose body hair. And there we go. You get a nice patch, maybe 2x4 inch patch there. And I'm going to take a couple of those. I'm going to take maybe about 4 of those, 3 or 4 of those. And you can see the tail, how fine that is. But they're still going to be strong. So I think I had about 5 or 6 of them there, but we're going to make that tail, we're going to try for about 1/2 to 3/4 the length of the hook shank. I didn't put them in my hair stacker, so. And we're going to tie them in. And I just lost one. Now I got 4 of them for sure. And a couple of them are long there, so I'm going to try to find the ones that are long. There we go. I'm going to take a wrap underneath the tail. Oh. There we go. Still going to take a wrap underneath the tail and then right on top. Now we can trim away that excess. Now for the body, we're going to use a spiky material. Hare's ear is a nice spiky material. But here I have gray fox fur. And I treated it and turned it into a dubbing. And it is so much like a hare's ear dubbing that you wouldn't even be able to tell. So if you know any trappers that trap a fox that don't really want the skin, or they have the skin or extra pieces, take it and shave it and put it in your chopper, in your coffee grinder, and you'll get a nice substitute for hare's ear dubbing. Gonna build that up there. Gonna put some more on. And like I said, this fox fur was just shaved off the skin and then chopped up to make a dubbing out of it. There we go. We're going to come up. Let me back that one. Get one more. There we go. Then we'll come up to the thorax, and I'm going to take that rib and I'm going to wind that. I'm pushing the tail, so I'm going to go ahead and wind it the opposite direction. If you go to wind your rib and you find that it's pushing, you can just go ahead and go in the opposite direction, and usually it won't push the tail. And we'll just helicopter that off. I'm going to leave the thread at the front, and I'm going to take some pheasant tail center, and I'm going to take a pretty decent amount of these, probably 3/4 of an inch worth from the tail. And we're going to get those tips aligned. Sometimes if you have a hard time getting those tips aligned, all you have to do is just trim that off the back side, because that's what's really holding it together. Then you could align them better. We're going to take them and we're going to tie them in right at the bead, keep them forward, and then that wrap is going to split them and kind of divide them there, stand them straight up. And I'm going to try to get the division now a little better. There we go. So that way we'll have our legs. Now we're going to go ahead and take some more of the fox fur or hare's ear, and we're going to wrap that thorax. And I'm going to get it about halfway. Then I'm going to grab those tails and I'm going to tie those tails in. So I have those, or the legs. So I have those legs coming out at about the halfway point. Try to get them on the side if you could. Got a couple of short ones there. I'll just trim them off. And I'm going to put a little more dubbing on there. And then continue with the thorax. Now we'll take the wing case and we're going to fold that over. And the color, this is a dark dubbing here, a darker dubbing. So I would call this a dark Timberline. And you could use a lighter color or darker on the back, or lighter on the back and darker in the front. And trim that off. And now we just need to take our whip finish. I'm going to take just a speck more of the hare's ear. Just a very little. Just so I can color the thread basically. Because we got, you can see there's thread actually showing. I'm going to take my whip finish and finish that off. And now when I get to tying it, you want to get that right under that right under the bead. Go ahead and tug that tight. Then we're going to go ahead and trim that. We're going to put a little bit of head cement on there. We'll go ahead and put that right up there on the bead. Even on the wing case. It's going to dry up naturally in a couple of seconds. And here we have the Timberline. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Please visit my sponsors. Let them know I sent you. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. If you'd like to purchase this or any flies that I make, go to etsy.com/shop/theflymanjim. And if you don't see it there, just send me a message and let me know what you want, and we'll figure things out. And most of all, I thank you very much for watching my videos.